Hello and welcome to the show. I am your host, Terry Ann Russell. Sacred Wellness Podcast is a journey about self-discovery featuring insightful conversations, healing practices, and the wisdom within to help you align with your soul's purpose. Welcome to the show today. Today we are discussing the awakening. As you've seen before, there's a lot of big changes that are happening, many within the ethers, within the zodiac, within the planets. But I'm here today to tell you that the awakening is not always what they portray it to be. I've shared openly about my experiences and some of my clients' experiences, some of my friends' experiences that have seen, felt, heard, known that the awakening is often an unraveling to who you truly are on the inside as a soul. So today I want to talk a little bit about the Awaken series that I'm doing. We're going to dive into the most transformative journey of your lifetime. If you're awakening, if you know someone that's awakening, then you're probably finding this podcast today in perfect timing. If you believe what I believe, you know that the universe works in mysterious ways, and often, sometimes, the perfect thing comes across our path for us to see, whether that's a book, an article, a podcast, a post, a person. They just show up miraculously at the perfect time. We're going to talk a little bit today about how it feels, what shapes it, and how we move through the stages of the awakening. And again, these are just simple variables for everybody because everybody experiences differently the way that we go through our life and our journey based on what we've set up to have happen in this lifetime, and then by the free will choices that we make. So there's plenty of variables that go into our awakening process. But first, I want to talk a little bit about what awakening looks like. So when you say the term awakening, people often think, oh, this is this one and done, this transformation. I've done this and now it's completed and I'm done and I'm awakened. And that's not how it works. It's this unfolding. I call it unraveling. We are unraveling all those things that have kept us bound before. So for some, it can look like a nudge, a question. Maybe you woke up today and you started feeling like there has got to be more to life. What's my purpose in life? What is my mission? What am I here to do? Maybe it looks like I'm just tired of running in this rat race every day. I get on the road, I go to work, I work all day, come home, pick up the kids, do the food shopping, do the cooking, watch a little TV, go to bed. And I get up to all do it again just the next day. If that sounds like you, leave a few comments and let me know if you're tired of running that rat race. For me, I had several awakening moments that I talk about often, and they were profound, deep, heart-wrenching moments in my life, but they were necessary for me. So I want you to understand that they were necessary for me. So I sometimes I'm a little hard-headed, so I learn the harder way. I need to sometimes really be shown or pushed into the direction that I need to go. So for me, the first awakening moment that I talk about was really back in 2008 when I read Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. And I had an aha moment and I thought, oh, wow, I'm not who I think I am. And who am I really? And at that point in time, I thought I was transformed. I had this new way of thinking. And I was like, oh, I'm a different person now. So that must be it. I'm good. Fast forward a few years, 2016, I had a near-death experience that left me questioning everything in my life. I was out of my body. It was an out-of-body experience first with a premonition, and then the near-death experience came 2 weeks later. This was showing me the abilities that I had known I had, but that I had suppressed over many, many years. That pivotal point in my life led me to follow Reiki. Again, Reiki fell in at the perfect time, the perfect place, just sort of popped in as a thought. Oh, maybe you should learn some Reiki. So that's how that began. In 2019, I had a massive spiritual awakening after the death of my son, Anthony. And I talk about this often. I think it's so important for people to understand that death changes us. It requires us to look deeper into what we've just been told. That process took me through several years, several books that I've written, and several times of unlayering those conditioning thoughts, beliefs, patterns that I held on so strongly to. So sometimes the awakening looks just like a little bit of curiosity. You're just beginning to learn. Oh, I'm going to pick up this book and I'm going to read a few things, and that's great. And sometimes for some people, that's the way that it starts. But sometimes for others like me, there's deeper stuff beneath that requires you to begin to process and learn and understand. And as you go on your spiritual journey, your awakening process will shift and change throughout the times that you are now going through this massive shift. I like to say awakening isn't about becoming someone else. I don't want you to think that you're trying to become someone else through this process. You're actually trying to unlayer those conditions, thoughts, beliefs, patterns that have been held on you, that have kept you bound through this year, through this lifetime, through other lifetimes, through past conditioning, through ancestral patterns, your parents, your grandparents, through society. Maybe it was even religion that taught you certain beliefs, patterns, or thoughts that you have. But I will tell you this, beneath the role that you play every day, beneath the mask that you hold and the mask that you put on for different environments that you're in, once you begin to awaken, you cannot drop back into that role. Once you know, once you see, once you understand, you cannot unsee, unknow, or ununderstand, if that's even a word, but you can't not see it anymore. So you can't not fall back into who you were. It's going to require you now to do different things, to step into new realms, to seek out people who are understanding, people who are like you. I think that was one of the biggest processes that I took through this journey was I kept getting guidance to move to Sedona. And I didn't know how we were going to move to Sedona. We just built a house where we were living in Gilbert, Arizona. And 2 years into it, I said to my husband, we need to move to Sedona full time. Not knowing how any of this was going to happen, the universe provided and led us on a path and left breadcrumbs for us to receive. And as our eyes began opening to what that process and that journey was, we ended up in Sedona. I like to share that because I think it's important when you're on the process of the awakening. These roles and thoughts and beliefs that you hold sometimes block it or prolong it or get in your way. So if we thought or believed that we would not be able to do that, we would not have been able to do it. We would have had more work to do to look at what that was holding us back. So because we carry these beliefs, thoughts, patterns, they're almost like, I like to describe them as invisible threads, right? It keeps us tied to this old version of ourselves. And often the most important people, the closest people to us want us to be who we used to be. And we can't be that person anymore. No matter what your experiences is in the awakening, you are changing. You're not only changing on the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, cellularly, you are changing. And that's a process that many of us are going through right now. And it's bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're starting to see the bigger picture, the bigger aspect of what is happening behind the scenes with all of that. Maybe as you awaken, you begin to notice another voice. Maybe there's another voice in your head. Maybe there's another voice that is telling yourself, this is where you need to go. This is what you need to do. Often those subtle little thoughts that come in when you hear you need to, or you should go hike on that mountain and see what happens. Many times those little subtle thoughts that come in are our inner compass, our guidance, our higher self, and they're guiding us. So don't be so easy to push all of those little thoughts away. If they're more thoughts of limiting beliefs, if you think you're not worthy, if you feel like you can't do it, those are limiting beliefs thoughts. But if you're hearing things like, you should go hike on that mountain today, you should go talk to that person sitting over there, those are thoughts that are coming from higher guidance. I want to talk a little bit about how it is, and I know a lot of you have followed me for a while, and I love the messages that I receive and all of the great feedback that talk about your thoughts, your patterns, your beliefs. But when we change what we believe, we actually change how we live. I've talked about that several times. If we change what we believe, our inner compass, our outer world shifts and changes. That's not something that just happens out of the ordinary. It's something that you are creating within you. And so the deeper you go, the more you unravel what's held you back, the more you are open to understanding that your thoughts, your words, your emotions fuels your reality. Talking today, I'm going to jump right into the chakras because I don't think the chakras are discussed enough in the awakening process. Our chakra system gives us this beautiful map to our awakening. When I first learned about chakras, I had no idea what they did, what they were responsible for, if we even had them, or how they worked, how they operated. And as I began on my spiritual journey, I began to see chakras, see colors, see how they moved, how they flowed, whether they were blocked or stagnant or slower, or whether they were more open and vibrant. And when I began to see that, I began to see deeper into them, deeper into the understanding that the awakening also comes through our chakras. And so for today's purpose, I'm only going to talk about the ones in our physical body. There are a lot more, but for today's purpose, we're going to just talk about those. So if we start at the root, the base, the spine, the root asks us, do I feel safe, supported, and grounded? Many of us do not feel safe, not only with the people that we're with, the environments that we're in, but within our own selves, we don't feel safe. Think about it. Maybe you don't trust yourself to make good decisions. Maybe you've been told you don't make good decisions, so you don't trust yourself to make good decisions. So you're not really sure or safe about how that looks for you. So your root can be slower. Maybe you don't ground enough. Maybe you're stuck indoors all day and you need to get outside more and ground, right? So the root is asking us to do all of those things. The sacral opens up to creativity, passion, and flow. So our sacral chakra, beautiful orange color, tells you a lot about who you are. The sacral drives our creativity, our passion. Are you passionate about what you do? Or do you dread going to work every day? Right there, that one simple question tells you a lot about the sacral chakra. The solar plexus, right above that, right above the belly button, awakens our power, confidence, and sense of purpose. Many of us dabble in or feel like we're drawn to one profession or another. Coming right out of college, I was destined, knew I was going to go help people, and it was going to be this beautiful experience. But What I didn't understand back then versus what I understand now is that that's just one aspect of that journey. I was limited in my thinking, that thinking I had to be in this environment. And this environment had to be pretty difficult to work with people that were like this. Knowing I had the ability to shift and change all that, I work with different people today than I did when I first came out and got my bachelor's degree in college in human services and human development. So think about the solar plexus as power, confidence, and your sense of purpose. Many of us often have this picture of where we want to go. We just don't know how to get there. You talk to any college kid today and they'll tell you, well, yeah, this is what I want to go do, but I have no idea how to get there. And that's where tuning in and learning to tune into your chakras is so very crucial. The heart. The heart helps us expand into love, compassion, and forgiveness for others. Huge, huge, huge on any spiritual journey. You are going to go through a process of unlayering into your heart chakra because not only does love and peace sit in there, compassion, but forgiveness, often forgiveness of others, forgiveness of ourselves. The throat asks us to speak our truth, use our voice as a healing tool. Many of us have issues with the throat chakra. You can feel it when you speak, when you start to get up and speak to people maybe that you haven't met before. You may hear your voice crack a little. You're a little unsure about saying what you want to say. You want it to be perfect. You want it to be right. Those are all blockages from mindset, beliefs, thoughts, how we express ourselves in the world. And many times our throat chakra is a little slower because of those things. That can easily be past life stuff. I've talked about this many times before. Often a past life blockage is when you've been killed for speaking your truth in another lifetime. Third eye. Third eye awakens our inner vision, intuition, and clarity. Crucial, crucial, crucial. Everybody thinks, oh, I want clairvoyance, I want clairvoyance. But awakening to that is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. Some people are born with this clear clarity of inner seeing. That for them is one of their strongest chakras. The crown. The crown connects us to divine source and the infinite light. We don't forget who we are when we are connected to our crown. We know the divine within us. We know the divine that speaks the truth within us. And we know the divine that sees the truth in others when we speak it, when we know it, when we see it, when we understand it, when we hear it. And so those are all part of what the chakras are and what they do. Now, each chakra can feel heavy. It can feel blocked, or it can feel open and expansive. The key is to listen to your energy field. Listen to your chakras as it's always speaking to you. So a little thing I like to do in the mornings is just connect with all of my body, my physical chakras. I hold my hands over each chakra, feel into them, see where I am that day. And I can ask myself, my higher self, what's in my highest and best today for me to do? And each day, obviously, it's different, more so than others. You know, when you're in tune with listening to your body, it's not only your energy field, but it's your physical body, your mental body, emotional body. You know, there's days that we're tired and we don't allow ourselves to relax. We're so caught up in the 3D world, we get stuck. And we get stuck that I have to do this and that and this and that, and I have to do it for everybody except me. And it leaves us drained and exhausted. It leaves us feeling what we are uncared for. And the person that is uncaring for us the most is ourself. So the more we tune in, the more we listen, the more we get in touch with those chakras, the more we see what they're speaking to us. Perfect example, there are days that I do nothing but create. I may paint, draw, I may write. That's the days that I need to be in touch with that creative side of myself. Maybe it's a day that I need to rest more. Maybe I've had a lot of clients, a lot of healing clients, and now this day is just calling me to rest. Maybe I need to tune in more. Maybe I need to tune in so I sit in meditation. I go out on a hike and I ground. But for wherever it is for you, you'll begin to know and understand as you begin to learn more about the chakras and the role that they play in the spiritual awakening. So moving on, I want to talk a little bit about the stages of awakening. Through every journey, you have a unique expression of a physical body and a soul. This physical body and this soul have contracted to be here together to understand, to grow, to learn, to flourish, to thrive. And through that, it's unique to that person. So even though these are basic stages, you may not have to experience every stage depending on where you are, the work that you've done, where your soul is, the work that your soul has done. So we have the call. This is the moment of questioning, the crack in the way of the old being. That's where you're saying to yourself, there's got to be more than this. The hell did I sign up for? I know I did not sign up to work 12, 14, 16-hour days, come home exhausted, not spend time with my family, get up and do it all over again just to, on the weekends, have a little bit of time to enjoy the physical life that I'm here for. How many of you had said that to yourself? Why am I here? I know I have. The next is the breakdown or dark night of the soul. Old structures collapse, and this can feel like confusion, grief, or even the loss of your identity. This is an important and crucial one because I feel like some people believe that you have a dark night of the soul and you go through it and you make it, and then that's it. It's not. Some of us have many dark nights of the soul, depending on, again, who you are, what you need, what you're here for, what your purpose is. The dark night of the soul is meant to unravel. It's meant to tear away that identity that you hold on to. Maybe you were the people pleaser in your family. Maybe you were the perfectionist. Maybe you were told you don't do anything right. Whatever it was, those conditions, beliefs, thoughts are deeply embedded. The dark night of the soul is going to rip all of those away, and it's going to leave you questioning deeper, on a deeper level. Why did I abide by this identity that I was told I should be, but who I've never felt like I am? Why? Next is the search. You begin seeking truth, wisdom, and teachers and practices that resonate with your soul. A little more lighthearted than Dark Night of the Soul. We are looking for others that are like us. On this path, it's crucial. I cannot express how important it is to have others that are like you, others that understand you. And often it's because we come from a family where no one is like us. No one can understand us. We're the oddball out, the weird one, the ugly duckling, whatever it is, we're the outcast. And so we're searching for others that are like us. The awakening. So the awakening is a series of moments of deep clarity and knowing that you are spirit in human form. So awakening comes and it opens us up to the power that resides within us. Integration, learning how to live this new awareness of your everyday life. How do you now fit into relationships, work, health? Everything shifts around you when you have a spiritual awakening. What does that mean for your relationships? What does that mean for your work identity? Can you sit there and gossip with the people at work when you no longer align with what that is? You can't. And once the process is started, you cannot go back. Embodiment. Embodiment is the awakening is no longer an idea, but it's your lived truth. You become the light for others simply by being who you are. And now many people ask me, how do I know who I am now? I haven't figured that part out yet. How do I know who I am? You must go through the stages. You must align with that higher self within you to guide you, to understand, to help you see, feel, hear, know on this process and this journey of unraveling. You become better in tune with who you are, the masks that you've worn, and the roles that are now outdated in your life. Often I talk about the fact that people fall away. We don't know. Sometimes the circumstances, sometimes it just happens. It's much easier when you allow the process to happen than when you fight it. I fought it for many years, staying in a marriage that I hated, playing the role that I hated because it made others feel comfortable. It made others be at peace, but it made me deeply unhappy until I had my awakening. And then that relationship was ripped out of my life. So I just want to finish up today. I've talked a lot about a lot of different things in the process of the awakening. I'm going to be talking more about the awakening as we go deeper into this, what we're moving into. So as you continue on your awakening path, remember, it's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you truly are. Who you truly are on a soul level, to get to know yourself all over again. There's no more beautiful process than getting to know who you truly are and loving who that person is, loving who that soul is. So it's about unraveling what's kept us bound. It's about opening up your chakras that have been blocked or closed off. And it's about relearning who you truly are on a soul level. The awakening is not an easy process. But if you're starting to look, you're starting to wonder, you're starting to question, is there more to this life than not what I just see? I invite you to go a little bit deeper. My book, the Crystalline Light Series, Reaching for You, helps you to begin to release everything that's held you back. It's 12 attunements, transmissions that help you to release those things that you've held on to. My newest book, Crystalline Series, #2, is Awakening Her Within. It's going to be available in September, and it holds 10 sacred attunements for your chakras, designed to guide you through your awakening journey, help you to align your chakras, to release energy patterns that you've held on to, and embody the crystalline light that we're moving into, that has always lived in with you, but it's been more dense. And as we lighten and lift up, you'll feel lighter. You'll become lighter. Things will shift and change. Your awakening is a gift, not just for you, but for the world. So thank you for walking this truth, for listening to me today, and for choosing to rise. I ask that all of you please continue to show me the love, like, share, subscribe my channel, help me grow more. I'm moving into a new person as well. I've shed the cocoon. I'm learning to spread my wings. And my voice is more powerful and strong than I even ever knew. So until next time, I ask you to stay awake, stay open, and stay in your light. This is Terry Ann Russell for Sacred Wellness.